allegiance. And the flag is up, and here we go. I pledge allegiance to the
To the
flag
flag of the United
United
States
States
of America,
of the republic for which it stands,
which
one
it
nation,
stands,
nation,
under
one
God,
nation,
one stand,
indivisible, with liberty and
liberty
justice.
and justice for all.
And I see that David Storr is asking to be let in. He is in the attendees and would like to become a panelist.
Okay.
Go ahead and bring him in. That would be great. David gave me a great movie recommendation recently, which is The Fisherman Friends. I recommend everybody watch that movie. It's quite fun. Lots of sea shanties. I've been into those lately, so thank you, Dave, for that. We'll move in for a roll call. We could.
yes. Councilmember Harrington,
Present.
Vice Mayor Agramonte,
Here.
Councilmember Dean,
Present.
Mayor Harvey.
Present.
Thank you.
Oh. David's on the move.
Oh,
Are you at Sonic Burger, Dave?
We can't hear you.
Yeah, I got busted on a staff meeting once ordering a number 4.
There we are. Very nice. So we're going to go ahead and that's awesome. So just a reminder on the public comment process. There may be some new members of the public who are here. Every time we have kind of an interesting or a special item, there's folks who haven't been to a meeting before. And so welcome. Thank you for coming to our meeting. We're super happy to have you. And if you've come before, then welcome back. The process for public comment is that we open it up for a 3-minute public comment period. We're going to have an open public comment session in just a minute here. So that's for items that are not on the agenda. For items that are on the agenda, for instance, if you want to come and talk about one of the council applicants that you're supporting and are excited to try to get onto council and want to support them, wait, not this first comment period, but we'll bring that item up for discussion and we'll ask you to comment then. We are operating in the virtual world, and so if you'd like to make a comment, then just go ahead and raise your hands, not like this, because we cannot see you if you're not one of the 4 or the 9 people here in the Hollywood squares. We can't see you, but raise your hand virtually, or if you're calling in, just dial *9. There's the possibility, though it hasn't happened yet, we've got a good track record. We could be Zoom bombed, and if that does happen, we'll pause the meeting, stop everything, and then restart the meeting again. If we're unable to do that, then we'll just be rescheduling the meeting at a later date. Other than that, I appreciate you all being here. The other note I would have is that every single member of this panelist group that you can see on screen right now is participating from their own homes or their own cars. And we do allow them to go ahead and turn off their camera if it's necessary for them to do so. You know, people have kids, they may be taking a bite to eat or anything like that. And so as long as they don't leave the room and still participate in the meeting, we're fine if they turn off their camera. So just want to update on that. And there I go disappearing. So we'll go ahead back to the meeting. That's just kind of direction on public comment. Do we have a report? Oh, you also may write a public comment in. So if you want to email us a public comment to publiccomment@sonomacity.org, the amazing Latanya will go ahead and read those into the record for you if you'd like to go through this that way. So we're moving on. So report on closed session. We had no closed session, so assuming there's no report, none to report. I see our city attorney, Jeff Walter, shaking his head. So we'll move on to approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
So moved. A second, please.
Second.
There we are. And if we could have a roll call vote, motion by Vice Mayor Agramonte and seconded by Councilmember Harrington.
Councilmember Harrington,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Agramonte,
Aye.
Councilmember Dean,
aye.
Mayor Harvey.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion carries unanimously.
There we go. Always starting off with a unanimous vote. It always feels good. Moving on to item number 1. Okay, so we are doing this before we go to public comment. So this is perfect. We're starting with item number 1, appointment to the City Council. So this is our appointment process to the Sonoma City Council. So I'll turn it over to our City Manager, Dave Kiff.
Hi there, Mr. Mayor and Council. So this item is your appointment to replace Councilmember Hunley. The appointment needs to be made either tonight or at your next meeting, at least by April 2nd. And when you guys last talked about this back a month ago, you made the decision to call for applications. Applications were opened and then closed. You reviewed those applications on Wednesday night, February 17th. And then you made the determination as well to come back at tonight's meeting, March 1st, and consider an appointment. And you you interviewed 5 candidates. They're Kelso Barnett, Jake Hager, Sandra Lowe, Mike Nugent, and Gary Paget. And that's all in and done. And now is your chance to potentially take public comment again, because it's a separate agenda item, and then to make an appointment.
Great. Do we have questions from council on this appointment process?
And for me,
Seeing none. So if you are here to make a public comment around this item, feel free to go ahead and raise your hand and we'll bring you in. Rebecca, can you handle doing time and all that for me? I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Excellent. And so we'll go ahead. Our first one, it looks like first shot out of the box is David Kendall.
So are we doing 3 minutes?
Yeah, let's do 3. But you
Yeah.
don't.
Kendall. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Hi. Yeah, I'm here on behalf of David Kendall. I live in Estimadera. I'm here on behalf of the Sonoma Valley Housing Group, and we voted Sunday to endorse Sandra Lowe for appointment to the vacant seat on the city council. We were really torn between Lowe and Mr. Kelso Barnett, and I think the narrow vote went to Sandra Lowe. We felt like Mr. Barnett was doing a great job on the planning commission, and we were happy to have him there. But I'm sure he would make a great city council member as well. For Sandra Lowe, as a longtime Sonoma resident and teacher with extensive policy experience and persistent dedication to social justice issues, Ms. Lowe offers balance and a unique complement of skills to the existing council. Here are some key housing-related issues Ms. Lowe supports as a candidate for city council. She's committed to twin challenges of homeless and affordable housing, to explore new funding streams through contacts with housing advocates around the state, including San Francisco Housing Accelerator Fund and Landed, which is an organization which helps teachers get into housing. She supports the preservation of existing affordable housing for seniors and working families in Sonoma's mobile home parks, zoning variances which could lead to multifamily small home ADU homes, higher stories, and multi-use opportunities. And she looks at every project with an eye on how it helps to hurt our affordable housing shortage. The substantial outpouring of support from the community, along with Mrs. Lowe's pledge to run in an election next term, makes her a standout and signals her readiness to be accountable to the electorate from day one for the long run. SVHG, Sonoma Valley Housing Group, recommends that you cast your vote to make Sandra Lowe the 5th member of the Sonoma City Council. And further, the Sonoma Valley Housing Group supports candidate Kelso Barnett remaining on the Sonoma Planning Commission in light of his outstanding and ongoing brilliant service. It would be really difficult to replace the package of competencies and commitment that Mr. Kelso Barnett brings to the Sonoma Planning Commission. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Next, we have Fred Albach.
Can you hear me?
Yep, you're on with the Sonoma City Council.
Everybody always says that. My name is Fred Allebach. I live at 19550 8th Street East, and I'm speaking as an individual and not as a member of any group. And I would like to cast my wholehearted support for Kelso Barnett for appointment to the City Council. I sent a letter the last time, and my comments in the letter still stand, and I would hope that you would give consideration for Kelso Barnett to be on the City Council. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Albach. Next we have Ms. O'Neill, Ms. Sheila O'Neill. And just hold on, you're not on yet. If you can hear me, we just bring Sheila in. And welcome, Sheila. You're on with the Sonoma City Council.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council members. Thank you so much. First of all, I wanted to just thank all of you because you made the decision to fill this vacant seat by appointment and not requesting a special election. And that certainly is the fastest way to do it. It's also the least expensive way to do it. But I want to recognize that this put a burden on the four of you. With an election, it would have been out of your hands and you wouldn't have had any responsibility or ownership of who was selected. But it would have taken months to fill the seat and it would have cost tens of thousands of dollars that the city, quite frankly, can't afford right now. And I think it's fabulous that 5 candidates came forward just months after the previous election. And I'm hoping that these candidates will still consider running in 2 years' time. But right now, I think it's time for you guys to get back to focus and to work on the city's work and to do so as quickly and as successfully as possible. And only one of the candidates is already completely up to speed with all the pressing issues that are facing Sonoma. Finances, cannabis dispensaries, homeless support, cemetery. Only one of the candidates has the familiarity and the history of the recent projects that have been both exciting and controversial and understands the context of these and future projects. And only one candidate has regularly attended the city council meetings in the last few years. Yep, you know, I'm talking about Kelso Barnett. Yes, he's on the planning commission and he's fabulous, but the planning commission has deep value and candidates there. So I'm not worried about Kelso leaving the planning commission. He'll do great in city council as well. And more importantly, he's ready to go. He doesn't need a tutorial on any of the topics that you guys have to dive into. And he will also bring some diversity to the council. He's a conservative. And right now our council is heavily weighted towards progressives. And I think that our community will benefit from the diversity of Kelso's perspective. And he's also a long-term community member. You each know Kelso, and most of you have worked with him in civic matters for the last several years. You know his character, you know his nature, you know he'll work passionately and honestly in this role, and he does not seek publicity. So I'm asking each of you respectfully to trust your judgment, follow your instinct, and appoint Kelso to serve on the council with the four of you for the remaining 2 years.
30 seconds.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Sheila O'Neill. Next we have Mr. Bob Felder.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi. Bob Felder. I'm speaking in support of Kelso Barnett for the vacant seat on the city council. Kelso is extremely qualified for this position, and he represents a unique combination of knowledge about Sonoma, the experience and participation in our city government, and the vision to preserve the heritage that makes Sonoma a special place to live. I've observed his participation and leadership on the Design Review Commission. I've had the benefit of his excellent preparation and thorough knowledge as a fellow member of the Planning Commission. Kelso's ability to provide council leadership and guidance to establish proper priorities over the next 2 years would be invaluable to the health and welfare of our city. So in summary, I urge you to appoint Kelso Barnett as the most welcome addition to the city council. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bob Felder. Next we have Josette Rose Eicher.
Hi, Josette Rose Eicher, 1110 Loma Court, The Springs. I know that some think I only care about leaf blowers and cannabis, but I care deeply about many issues facing Sonoma and the Valley. Affordable housing is our most pressing issue. I was so impressed with all the applicants for city council. All have a deep commitment to our community, but I'm still backing Kelso Barnett, as I feel he understands the issue of affordable housing best, especially when it comes to what is needed in market rate projects so that we do as a part of those projects create true affordable housing and not just a placeholder and something that sounds like affordable housing. I also think that Kelso understands the housing issue as it relates not just to the city of Sonoma, but in how it reaches out and integrates into the Springs and the entire valley, including the future of SDC. So thanks very much.
Thank you much, Ms. Josette Bros Eicher. Mr. Robert Demler.
Can you hear me?
We can indeed.
Thank you very much. First, I would like to, Robert Demler, 649 First Street West, Sonoma. I'd like to thank all of you for your continued service, and I know it takes a lot of time and effort, and I'm very appreciative to all of you for keeping things going. I want to welcome also Amy and Jack. They're your newest members. I'm very proud of them, and I'm very happy that they are with you. I would like also this evening to recommend that you appoint Kelso Barnett as your next city council member to fill the vacancy. I witnessed the question period that you had for the candidates, and I felt that Kelso, and I was not surprised, I felt that Kelso was well prepared and knowledgeable on every issue that was asked of him. I believe Kelso has done a fantastic job on the two commissions that he has served the city so well on, and I am happy to support him, and I urge you to do that because I believe that you would not have anyone who needed their hands held in being a part of the group, which we need so badly to have you all a complete group. And I believe he would work very well with all of you and has the respect of many of us in this community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Robert Demler. And next we have Mr. Ron Wellender.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can, Ron. I apologize.
Oh, okay. Ron Wellender, 1149 Neal Court, Sonoma, California. I want to follow up the contacts that I've had with each of you to date and verbalize this evening my support also for Kelso Barnett. I would be disingenuous if I didn't say that I would miss him as a fellow planning commissioner, but I feel strongly that he is the best candidate to fill this 2-year vacancy. Many of the fellow citizens have already expressed his attributes, so I will not repeat them, other than to say that, again, when you have someone that has been raised in the city, has shown tremendous commitment and investment of his own time at various levels, and also, as you've witnessed, as a planning commissioner, he comes very well prepared each and every time. And I would trust that you'd be taking that same commitment to city council. So I will keep this short. Again, I want to strongly encourage you to add to your composition, Mr. Kelso Barnett. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ron Wellender. Next we have Maddie Hirschfield.
Good evening. You can all hear me, so I'm not even going to ask. Maddie Hirschfield with the North Bay Labor Council. I want to speak strongly for Sandra Lowe, who I've known for many, many years. And I heard somebody say that there was only one candidate qualified, and it's just not true. Sandra has been in the city and intimately involved with the issues of the city of Sonoma for decades. She's the smartest person I know and would serve your council exceptionally well. Somebody mentioned hand-holding. I haven't seen Sandra ever handheld. In fact, she's the one doing most of the hand-holding. I think that if you appoint her tonight, you'll wonder how you got along without her prior to this. So I strongly recommend Sandra Lowe for this appointment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Maddie Hirschfield. I'm seeing people comment if they have interest in speaking. Yeah, if you have any interest in speaking, please raise your hand and we'll call you in. It's just we've got a little bit of a line here. And if you've already spoken, please take your hand down. Next, we have Wendy and Matt.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, sorry, yeah. So this is Matt Metzler, using my wife's computer. Anyway, I am speaking just for myself as an individual, not representing the commission or any other group or organization. I was very pleased to see Sandra Lowe has submitted her application. That was a pleasant surprise for me because I knew Sandra years ago from her work with the California Teachers Association. And she is, I just wanted to recommend her because she's extremely well qualified. She's extremely knowledgeable about governance issues, and she would just bring a huge depth of knowledge and experience to the council. So anyway, I just wanted to encourage you guys to appoint Sandra Lowe. I'll keep it short. You guys are going to have a really hard decision. I don't envy you trying to choose between the many qualified applicants, but I think Sandra Lowe would be great on the city council. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Metzler. Next, we have Chris P. And there you are. You're on the Sonoma City Council. Hello. I believe it's Mr. Petlock. Hello. Back on mute now. Your microphone appears to be on now, but I cannot hear you if you are trying to speak. Microphone appears to be off now. All right, so we're having some technical difficulties there, so we'll go ahead and move on, and we'll bring you back in for another shot, Chris, in a little bit. But right now, we're going to bring on Mr. John Kelly. And you're on with the Sonoma City Council.
Mayor. How are you?
I'm well. How
Hello,
are you?
good evening, Mayor. How are you? I'm fine, thank you. So I'm speaking tonight on behalf of myself personally, but also the Sonoma County Democratic Party, which, as I mentioned at the last council meeting on this subject, was going to and has subsequently endorsed Sandra Lowe for the seat. And I am speaking tonight on behalf of the party, but I'm also speaking on behalf of myself because I'm a resident here of the town, living at 19001 Unipro Serra. It's an unusual decision to have to appoint. It's not something that comes up commonly for the council. It's something that we as a school board had to do ourselves. And it's an interesting process because it's one of the few decisions where you're not actually acting purely in a representative capacity based upon your own judgment. It's more like when a citizen initiative appears in front of the council and you have the alternative to adopt the ordinance in lieu of calling an election. Here, you're actually trying to anticipate what the choice of the voters would have been. And that's a bit of a different decision. It's sort of a different set of muscles we have to exercise. Here, a critical decision in determining if you're going to appoint an elected is, has the person had elected experience from the city before? And here, Sandra Lowe has. She's been an elected representative of the school board that has represented the voters. She's previously been elected by them and after 4 years reviewed and elected again. And that is a unique experience that none of the other candidates present. Sandra has the ability to understand what is called upon as an elected already. There is no substitute for having to face the voters, as all of you are aware. It is a unique process that tempers us all and allows us to understand the value of interacting with them in a way that I think no one who's ever done it who's knocked the doors and walked the walk can really appreciate and understand. I think there really is no question that were there to be held an election, Sandra would win. She is a supremely qualified individual for this job. Further, it is exactly the type of person we want to see serving on our city councils. We have frankly had too many pale, male, and stale members of our boards and commissions and councils for so many years. And it's good to make sure that we encourage and replace with people who are representative of our community as a whole. And Sandra does that and is that. So I think that she brings the right balance, she brings the right experience and the right qualifications. I think we all understand, though, that a number of the people who have put their names forward are high quality individuals. And I think that every person that has applied is deserving of accommodation for doing so. But I think in this case, it's just very clear that Sandra Lowe is the right person for the job. And I thank you very much for your time tonight.
All right, moving on. We have Mr. David Eicher.
Oh, hi. Yes, David Eicher here in Loma Court. So it looks like you've got two front runners in this, and at least in terms of the comments from calling in. And I think both of them sound good, but I still support the appointment of Kelso Barnett to the City Council. I feel you should appoint someone who not only knows Sonoma, but knows Sonoma city government. I don't think anyone else of the applicants meets these criteria, especially with the general plan and development code being updated soon. Kelso Barnett has the experience of being on the planning commission. And I've been to or watched many of the planning commission meetings and know that he always is prepared and asks very good questions and is fair and looks at all sides of everything. Most of the candidates look to be involved in some way, to help keeping Sonoma Valley on the right track, but it appears some may not know the long hours the city council members spend on various committees. I know Mr. Barnett does. So this is why I'm putting my support behind him, and good luck tonight. And you have a great opportunity here. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Eicher. We'll move on to, looks like Sinjin, and I apologize if I'm getting that incorrect.
Hi there, you have it correct. This is Claire and Sinjin, and we are coming to you from Oak Lane. We previously lived on Arnold Drive from 2006 to 2013. And first of all, I think it's extraordinary that there's such a wonderful collection of people who are interested in running for this position. We do a lot of work in San Francisco with local politics, and quite frankly, rarely do we see this caliber of applicant and this enthusiasm. But in terms of filling this position, I'm gonna present this from a little bit of a different light from one of the prior speakers, which is rather than thinking about who might have been elected had we run a traditional election, I think that you all are in a unique position where you get to round out your council and look for somebody who has skill sets and experience that may not already be part of the complement. And so from that sense, we're not endorsing anyone in particular. We don't have a relationship with any of the candidates, but I think it's important for the council to think about the issues facing the city and where you may say, as a group, this is an area where we may be a little bit, not as strong in the bench as we might be on other issues. The other piece that I think is important to think about is the opportunity for that person to be a liaison. I know that all of you serve on various different committees and different programs. And so that's another area in which you have to think about where will this person round out the complement of skill set and relationships that you already have. So again, we're extraordinarily impressed with the collection of applicants. And again, thank you all for your time, because we know that this is while it's presented as a volunteer position, clearly you all are working time and a half, if not more than that, in terms of the hours and the commitment you make to the council. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Mr. Jack Buckhorn.
Well, good evening, Mayor Harvey, council members and staff. My name is Jack Buckhorn. I'm the executive director of the North Bay Labor Council. And as I mentioned last time, we have endorsed Sandra Lowe, and we've done that because of her experience and her connections in the region, in the city, in the state. We believe that she would be a wonderful addition to any city council or board of electeds. We expect folks to get work done for us. And Sandra is a person I've known for decades. And one thing I can tell you about Sandra Lowe is she rolls up her sleeves and she works hard. She builds relationships and she gets things done. And she gets things done in a collaborative way. So I would ask for all those reasons and more that you consider Sandra Lowe. And honestly, it's a gift to the city of Sonoma to have someone of her qualifications. And not to say that anyone else that applied isn't of high caliber. I actually was very impressed listening to all the interviews at your last meeting. And I just applaud each and every applicant who put their name in, because I don't need to tell you, it's a thankless job that you guys have. And we thank you for being the public servants that you are. So I know it's a tough decision. We're voting for Sandra Lowe, but you've got a lot of good candidates to choose from. So good luck. And we appreciate your working on behalf of the public and in Sonoma.
Thank you very much, Jack Buckhorn. I appreciate it. Next, we have Bill Borum.
Oh, very good. Okay, I can hear myself over my phone.
There you go. Now you know you're.
Again, thanks to all of you for your service. And being a governing board member myself, I know what this takes. It's not just going to a meeting. So I'm very happy to appear tonight. And as I wrote to each of you, I am supporting Kelso Barnett because he has demonstrated interest, qualifications, and capabilities. And I think this is most comes to fore when we consider his Planning Commission service of several years. And I think being on the Planning Commission is the best possible preparation for going on the City Council. And over the years, many people have followed that route. Importantly, when you're on the Planning Commission, you really come to know the various working parts of the Sonoma city government. And I think that was quite clear when Kelso, in his remarks, the interview, if you call it that, and I think that's the other major reason, I was very impressed by his opening statement, his closing statement, and also the answers to the questions that you posed. He gave technical and knowledgeable responses. So I think that really shows again that he's got the interest and capabilities to serve. I think importantly, he will keep the focus of his energies on the city and on city issues and not on other extraneous larger issues that are important, but are not the purview of the council. So I do hope you will select him as your new colleague. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bill Borum. And next we have Ms. Terry Shore.
Yes, good evening, Mayor Harvey, council members, staff, members of the public. This is Terry Shore. I live at 515 Hopkins Street in Sonoma. And I'm just calling in to reaffirm my support and urge you to appoint Kelso Barnett to the City Council. I think a number of the other speakers have made a very strong case for Kelso Barnett, and so I will just keep it short and urge you to appoint him. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Next we have Mr. Chris Petlock.
Thank you for letting me back in again. Sorry about all that.
That's all right.
Good evening, council members. Thank you for the opportunity to speak on this matter. I know it's a difficult decision, and certainly with all the great comments about the applicants tonight, doesn't make it any easier. I'm here on my own, not as part of any group, but I do serve as a member of the California Progressive Alliance, the California Public Banking Alliance, and I'm also a government finance officer. I've served in local agencies for many years and even served on a commission with some of you folks. I'm here tonight to endorse Kelso Barnett for a seat on our city council. He's been my friend for a long time. We've had a lot of far-ranging conversations from local city politics to endless minutia within the city's budgets and of course throughout the greater region, but that's not what we're here tonight to talk about. I think Kelso would be a great addition to the council. He is got a great mind. He is open to ideas. He really wants to get things right. And I think it would be a great service to all of us and add a great deal of horsepower and bandwidth to our council, which is greatly needed right now. Thank you again for the time to speak, and have a good evening.
So much, Mr. Petlock. And next we have Mr. Dave Branson.
Hi, good to see you all. And wasn't it great to have 4 people come forward for this this opening when we had 2 people running for 2 seats in the elections? It was really good to see people coming forward. Council was very interesting in calling attention to the concern to annex the Springs as to make a total municipality. I thought that was very interesting. But I think that the response to that will be that if we do, we're going to have people like Sandra elected. And I think that's very important, because I think she's going to represent folks who are not often represented on the city council. She has a history of having done so, and I think that's the missing voice. Not that people don't speak for those folks, and I know we have one other council member with a union past, but I would really like to see her on the board. As you know, I live in Santa Rosa, but I go to church in Sonoma, and I'm very interested in seeing Sandra on the board.
Thank you very much.
Excuse me.
Anyone else wishing to speak, please raise your hands. I see Kilby Stenkamp. I hope I get that right. Got that right?
Can you hear me?
Welcome. Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Hi there. Thanks for taking my time here. I'm in support of Kelso Barnett as an individual, and I also represent the president of the North of Mission Neighborhood Association. Kelso is well-rounded. He's sharp. I can't say any more than other Sheila, Bob, Ron, and Bill have said. I'm in full support. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kilby. Do you have anybody else rising to speak? I see a David, and the hand is back down. David? Go ahead and unmute yourself, David. You're
Good evening.
Good evening.
This is Celso David Viviani. I'm a 3rd generation Sonoma native, and I'm very pleased to see so many fine candidates apply for this open position. It's a compliment to the city council and to our community. I'm supporting Kelso Barnett. I've known his family and since he started his early days at St. Francis. I saw him go through Justin Siena. He's one of my son's best friends. He always did his homework. He was a top student, altar boy, Boy Scout, and scholar. So I'm very, very proud of him. He also worked at the Sonoma Cheese Factory in the deli, and he was one of the best deli people we had there, and proud to be a part of his life through his formative, even high school years. I think his commitment to Sonoma is sincere and deep. I'm very proud that he's evolving into such a fine leader. And I think that he would complement the fine work of the city council and the city council members. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Anyone else rising to speak? Seeing none, we've had a number of written public comments as well. If you wrote a public comment, but you also spoke here, we're not going to be reading your public comment because you've already been given the chance to speak and we're a little short on time here. We want to keep things within the confines of reason. So if we have written public comment, go ahead, LaTanya, and let's have them.
Thank you, Mayor Harvey. The first is from Victor Conforti. Dear council members, I have known Kelso for many years, first as a member of the DRHPC and later as a planning commissioner. We've also worked together as participants in local community planning efforts, general plan updates, and local planning advocacy organizations. I've always been impressed by his understanding and clear analysis of the issues, ability to formulate and clearly present sensible solutions, as well as help create consensus to help bring about fair outcomes. Kelso's experience can bring those skills to bear immediately and will allow the council to function without having to deal with the lengthy learning curve. I strongly encourage you to appoint Kelso as a council member. Thank you for your consideration, Victor Conforti. Next, we have Larry Murphy. Dear council members, I am writing to recommend that you appoint Kelso Barnett as your new colleague. Born and raised in Sonoma, his experience, his record of service to the city, his dedicated work as a planning commissioner all make him eminently qualified to join you as a member of the Sonoma City Council. Larry Murphy, 43 France Street, Sonoma. Next, we have Karen Collins. I am writing to voice my support for the appointment of Kelso Barnett to the vacant city council position. I have previously sent in a recommendation, so will not detail my reasons again. However, since this is on tonight's agenda, I would like this read into the record. Thank you. Next, we have Ethel Whalen. I've known Kelso for 25 years, and he's always been a support for myself and my family. You don't have to be his friend for him to care about you. He cares about everyone. He's a people's man. He's good, kind, considerate, and caring. Thank you. And let's see, we have two more. Pippa Whalen. I had the pleasure of meeting Kelso as a child, and we haven't stopped laughing since. He has supported me through tragedies and successes. He has been like a brother to me, but only better. He has a strong moral compass. You can always tell a good man by the way he treats his mother. Kathy Barnett was so proud of him and so loved by him. Kelso's heart has always been in Sonoma. I am confident he will make us all proud serving our town. Pippa Whalen, realtor with Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate in Sonoma. And last but not least, we have Thale and Steve McRosty. We wish to express our support for Kelso Barnett for the 5th seat on the City Sonoma Council. Thank you. And that was the last email, Mayor Harvey.
Thank you so much, Latanya. I appreciate you reading through all those. Very well done. And it's tough to read people's letters, so we really appreciate the work there. Do we have anybody else rising for public comment? One last shot before we go ahead and close and bring it back to the council. And I'll go ahead and close it, bring it back to the council. Just quickly want to say, in response to Mr. Kelly's comment, while I may be pale and male, I do not feel that I'm stale. And don't necessarily think that those are disqualifying factors for serving well on the Sonoma City Council. So we'll go ahead and bring it to council for comments, thoughts.
I'd like to start.
Go ahead.
First of all, I'd like to thank everyone who that was my line for weighing in on their choice for council. I would imagine, like others, I possibly answered anywhere from 25 to 40 emails, and I appreciate everyone because everyone had some really great stuff to say, and of course how much they loved Sonoma, which I think is, is a big factor here. So I'm just really proud that so many people got involved and really enjoyed listening to supporters of different people here for this candidate's appointment. This is a very rare occasion because it doesn't happen very often. And so I think that I, like my colleagues, we're going to take this in a very, very important manner. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Vice Mayor. Other comments from council?
I have a comment.
Yeah.
So in my first thought was how lucky the voters are, because when they vote, they get to choose either 2 or 3 candidates, depending on the year when the election is, and we can only pick one, which is very difficult because there are some really great candidates. And I wish that we had the same option that the voters have of picking 2 or 3. So I want to say that. So in considering it, I went back through all of the emails I received and also all of the applications, and I reviewed them. And today, and I just want to really for members of the public and probably not for the council, but just to refresh everyone's recollection, I looked at their record of public service and then the letters of support that I got. And so I'm going to do it in alphabetical order. Kelso Barnett has been a planning commission member since 2017 through the current period. He was a member of the Design Review and Historic Preservation Committee from 2010 through 2017. He was on the ad hoc Formula Retail Subcommittee in 2011 and 2012. He's been on the Development Code Subcommittee from 2020 through present. He is a member of the Board of Directors of the Blue Wing Adobe Trust, and he is on the county's planning advisory team for the Sonoma Developmental Center. Jake Hager is a board member of Napa Valley Hospitality Forum. Sandra Lowe was on the Sonoma School Board from 2000 through 2008, and she's currently an elected member of the DNC. Mike Nugent was a member of the Sonoma Valley Hospital Board with various levels of responsibility there, president, etc. He was also on the board of the Valley of the Moon Vintage Festival and responsible for putting that on. And Gary Paget is a member of the Native Sons, and he has served as inside sentinel, outside sentinel, and also as trustee. And I received letters of support for, I think, probably maybe 40 letters of support for Kelso. And then probably about 20 for Mike Nugent. And I could go through those, but probably you all received the same, but with and several for Sandra Lowe as well, extolling their virtues and their longstanding relationships with the applicants. So in light of all the great applicants, I'm going to support Kelso Barnett tonight. I think that he is an outstanding candidate for all the reasons probably we know, and all the reasons that were mentioned tonight. And I'm happy to support him. And I think, ideally in a year and 9 months, we will have a number of candidates in a regular election where the citizens of Sonoma will pick who they want. There are 3 seats that will be up for election in a year and 9 months. And each of the people who have applied today should run if they want to be on the city council. And I think there's a number of people who probably have a really good shot at winning. So, but that's my decision for tonight. And I want to thank everybody for applying. It has been such a difficult process to come to a decision on this. But that's the decision where I'm at.
Thank you much, Councilmember Harrington. Councilmember Ding, do you have any comments?
Yes. First of all, I'm very grateful to all of the local residents, write the emails, make the phone calls, textings. I reply to them partially. I couldn't reply to everybody. I want to say an apology, and because I know that you are using the valuable time, and not only in the writing and in the thinking, what is the exactly need for the city. Each line and each word and represent your concern to our community, to the city. And we all feel it's really, really a heavy duty for us. We cannot make the wrong decision and for this appointment. So however, the issue is all the candidates, all the 5 candidates, each of them has the different qualities. They have the different providing stuff for our city. And the last time, Michael Nugent and the presentation also impressed me a lot, because he reminded me a lot of the, and Sonoma's, traditions and legacy, because he is such a successful business person. And even right now, he called me, he introduced himself. Even right now, he worked around the clock because he has different branches that run his business in the New York, in the Florida, in the Europe. And basically, his working schedule is kind of the 24 hours. Yeah, but he really enjoying. So it reminds me, this is our Sonoma part of our tradition, our spirit. That is an entrepreneurial. Yeah. So although it's difficult, we take the chance, we work hard, we never give up. That is the impress me. And Sandra Lowe, I met Sandra Lowe once on the plaza. I feel she has very, very concern of our community. She lives here, she raised her 4 kids here, all from the public schools. She knows a lot of the people in the town, and she knows what they need. And also, she has very strong relationship with the state, with the political organization. And this kind of relationship also is valuable for our city, for our community, because we can get a lot of the information. We can get a lot of the additional support. And also, she has a lot of the experience and the local and the leadership experience and during the school board. And Castle Barnett, I have been working with him more than a time during the past couple of years. And even before I ran the first time I was running for the city council, she called me, introduced himself, because we know each other just over the phone. Or sometimes on TV, I watch his presentation on the planning commission. And she asked me, do you have the time? What do you want? And what do you need? And then the first time, he didn't express his any idea, support or no support. So now I think he is really, really serious, because based on the first conversation, it's harder for him to support candidates. And the second time I was running, he made an appointment with me again. And then we talked deeply. During that the conversation, he expressed his support, my idea. Yeah. So during this kind of the contact, I think that he really is concerned about the city, our community, who is the right person. So during the past year, I worked with him promoting our local UGB, put on an extension for another 20 years. So during this working period, and then I know more about his professional skills and his concerns, and also his strategic planning for not only for the short term, 5 years, 10 years, and even the longer, 30 years, 50 years, even 100 years. So based on my observation and thinking, it's very struggling, and I would like to support Castle Barnett. And also another thing why I support Castle Barnett mentioned, and he will not be in the running for the next the city council. That is the 1 year next year's. Yeah. So that means give the other opportunity, that other people more opportunity to run this valuable seat a couple of years later. So that is my point. Thank you so much, Mayor Harvey.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Ting. So I want to start off by thanking every single candidate that put their names forward. Like I said during our interviews, being on Sonoma City Council is enjoyable and interesting, certainly, but it's also quite a bit of work, and it's a significant commitment to the community. It's hours of your time, it's hours of responding to emails, it's answering every single number that calls your phone, whether or not you know it, and dealing with the issues of the day, large and small. And it takes somebody who really, really cares about the community to do that and to want to sign up for that role. And contrary to what I think a lot of people believe, we make, I think we net about $200 a month doing this. So we're certainly not into it for the money. So I just want to commend every single person that we had step forward to serve in this role. And we had a really diverse cast. We had Jake Heiser, who seems to be, very passionate community member, a parent who wants to see the best for his children. We had Mike Nugent, who served on our hospital board for a long time, a local businessman who had a lot of community support. What was the other guys? We had Kelso Barnett, who served on our planning commission for 20 plus years. And we had Sandra Lowe, who raised children here, and is very active on a number of issues that are extremely important. And Gary Pageant, a local active member of the Native Sons. And so just having that diverse group come forward and want to represent this town was really impressive and really wonderful to see. And I agree with Councilmember Harrington that it's a shame that we can't pick more than one person. I'm glad that we don't have more than one member of council leaving their seat early, certainly, but it does make it very difficult that we only get to choose one. And for me, the question, and the reason I asked the question of how many city council meetings have you attended when we did the question period, was my question is how long have you been directly involved with the business of the city and what the city's going through? And I think, to me, while every single member that came forward is passionate about what's going on in the city of Sonoma, cares deeply about the direction the city is heading, has great experience and knowledge that would help address the issues of affordable housing, of inequality, of all these types of issues that the city faces. To me, the member who's dedicated the most time would definitely be Barnett. He served on our design review commission. He served on planning commission. Prior to being on council, I had attended many meetings and Kelso was there. He pays attention not only to what's happening in our city, but also to school board meetings, CSEC meetings, and everything. And, he's one of the few people in the community that really, I think, may know more about this community than members of council. He's up to speed and ready to move on a lot of issues. And so I think that, combined with the outpouring of community support from across the spectrum, from people who I know are very much on the left-wing side of things, like Mr. Alabach, to more conservative members of our community, to older, more historic members of our community who have a long family legacy here, all reached out to support Kelso Barnett. And other people had significant community support as well, and institutional support. I think that's wonderful. And I encourage every single person who applied for this seat to run in the future. But tonight I will be, for the reason of the strong community support and the long service to our community in a volunteer role on the Planning Commission and Design Review, I will be supporting Kelso Barnett.
Well, I'd like to chime in, Mr. Mayor. I too came from the federal and state level, having worked for legislators, a US senator and a state senator. And that's what I brought to my roles on different city councils, which I think are really important. And I've learned a lot about local government from serving on local government. And I'm a prisoner of hope. That's all I'm looking for. Somebody who shares that same feeling with me. And there are two things that Kelso Barnett and I agree on. Number one, we need to do something about our cemeteries. They're beautiful, they're historic. We need to draw people here, number one, just to visit this historic site. And of course, the other is the appeal of our projects. I think he seems to be very in favor of looking at a new appeal process for the development code, and I think that's something that's very important. We have wasted hundreds of thousands of dollars fighting a $400 appeal. And the people of Sonoma need to understand how much money is spent on appeal processes. So Kelso Barnett is someone who really seems to be focused on that as well as I am. And that's why I also support him. Thanks. Thank you.
Seeing it looks like we have unanimous support. Do we have a motion?
Make a motion to appoint Kelso Barnett to the city council.
I second.
Oops, sorry, Jack Ding.
Oh.
I'll yield to you.
Jack, oh, okay.
I'll yield to Jack.
I was going to give it to the vice mayor, but we got Jack. It's been yielded to Jack Ding. So we got a motion by Councilmember Harrington and a second by Councilmember Ding.
Thank you.
And a third by Councilmember Agramonte.
Thank you, Agramonte.
If we could have a roll call vote.
Yes, Councilmember Harrington,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Agramonte,
Aye.
Councilmember Dean,
Aye.
Mayor Harvey.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion carries unanimously.
Really nice.
That is great.
So the next step, as the city clerk knows, is to swear the new council member in. We're ready to go there?
Yes. Hello. Alrighty, it's a little bit different in being in Zoom. You typically would sign this after you take the oath, but you and I will talk and get, so we can meet and have you sign this. But for this evening, if you'll raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Kelso Barnett, council member,
I, Kelso Barnett, council member,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California
the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California,
to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties upon which I'm about to enter.
the duties upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome. Welcome to the council, Councilmember Barnett.
I appreciate it. It's great to be here. When I was young, I thought one day maybe if I was lucky enough, I would run and be on the city council. And I always thought it would happen just like this on Zoom. So
Watch it, Kelso. I'm the only funny one on this city council.
oh, well, okay. Can I take a minute to say?
Please, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
please.
Yeah.
I just, again, really want to thank the council for their confidence in me. It really means a lot to me. And one of the reasons why I was attracted to applying in this sort of unique opportunity was the fact that I've worked with all four of you and love working with all four of you. And, whether it's the budget with Councilman Ding or parks and the needs for our families with Councilwoman Harrington, or housing issues with our mayor, or cemetery issues with our vice mayor, I'm very excited to get to work. We have a lot of work to do, and I'm really excited to move forward. Obviously, these are big shoes to fill, and I do want to take a second to acknowledge the service of Councilwoman Rachel Hundley. I think she was a consequential councilwoman, and she was part of this council over the last few years where you all made significant progress for our town. And I'm sure all of us appreciate the sacrifices and the service she made for our town. So I just want to thank her. I also want to recognize the fellow applicants, Jake, Mike, Gary, Sandra, as you all just said. I'm very honored to be part of such an impressive group of applicants. And so, I really hope the four of them remain involved in our city because we obviously need everyone's help right now. I also want to briefly thank staff. I think we're so lucky to have such a great city staff in every single department. And I specifically want to thank our city clerk, Rebecca Barr, for conducting this process. Obviously, a resignation and an opening on the council doesn't happen all the time. And I think she handled this process very well. And I just want to thank her and recognize her for that. I also briefly want to thank all the outpouring of support. This is very awkward for me. I don't like to ask people for things like that. I don't like being the center of attention. And so it's been a very interesting process, but it's been humbling. And I really want to thank everybody for their support. And no one elected me, so I've said enough. And so with the pleasure of the council, Mr. Mayor, I would love to move on to the consent calendar and the rest of the agenda. Thank you.
So much. All right, so we're moving on from item 1 to item 2. Dave, to our city manager, you had mentioned potentially mentioning our request for public comment on our manager piece. Should we do that now while we have everybody's attention, or I know it's not necessarily the good of the order?
Yeah, you could do that now, Mr. Mayor.
Good. So I'd just like to let people know that we are producing while we have everybody's attention before everybody jumps off and we move into less focused or maybe less interesting to you items on the agenda, that we are reaching out to our community to get input on our city manager recruitment. We want to hear what you have to say. So keep a close eye to city updates from our Facebook page. It's also on the city website. So when you land on the splash page, I'm sure there's a link to it there. I'll be posting it on my Facebook page. I'd encourage every other council member to post it online as well. We want to get a lot of community feedback so that we can choose a city manager that represents the future of our community and what everybody'd like to see. So as much community input as we can get, we'd really appreciate it. And you don't have to live in the city to do that. If you live in the valley, feel free to chime in as well. We want to hear from all of you. And so we'd really, really appreciate it if you would chime in. And the reason we aren't keeping Dave is because we can't. We really like him. He's doing fantastic, but it's not allowed because allegedly he's retired. So though he works pretty hard for us. So that's where we're at right now. And so just please make those comments and link to the survey. And it's in the chat right now if you are a part of our little chat here, if you're on our Zoom meeting. And with that, we'll move on to public comment. So at this time, members of the public may comment on any item not appearing on the agenda. It is recommended that you keep your comments to 3 minutes or less under state law, unless otherwise permitted under the Ralph M. Brown Act. The merits of this matter presented under this item cannot be discussed or acted upon by the City Council at this time. For items appearing on the agenda, the public will be invited to make comments at the time the item comes up for council consideration. Upon being acknowledged by the mayor, that's me, please begin by stating your name. And again, raise your hand if you want to make a public comment. There we go. We got a lot. Okay, how about this? Got a public comment night. I like it. We'll go ahead. Fred Albach, fresh out of the gate.
Good evening, City Council members. I'm here tonight at this public comment period as the CSEC Commissioner, as one of the 4 members of the city's new Joint Council CSEC Climate Action Committee. City has council approved ambitious climate emergency resolution goal to reduce city and community greenhouse gas emissions to net zero by 2030, 9 more years. I see the urgency and seriousness of this issue, and I urge the council to do all we can to meet this goal. We need to do our fair share here on planet Earth. I urge the Joint Committee to adopt a number of specific action items for rapid implementation. First, focused on transportation GHG emissions reduction incentive. Second, implement city carbon negative actions. Third, include affordable housing as an effective climate action. Fourth, accelerate climate-sensitive energy actions in local buildings, encourage local residents to adopt Sonoma Clean Power's 100% renewable energy evergreen service, assist local residents to complete modern energy conservation audits of their homes and take recommended steps to reduce their electricity and gas usage. Fifth, pass a ban on any new gas stations located in Sonoma. Sixth, adopt the all-electric reach code consistent with other Bay Area cities. For recommended outreach and citizen involvement, I'd like to suggest involving high schoolers in Sonoma climate action, involve the chamber, the vintners and growers and restaurant owners, and involve the local environmental community, and to adopt a city community-wide focus on triple bottom line, full cost accounting sustainability as the paradigm that we need to really solve all our problems. For coordination with Sonoma County, I'd like to encourage the RCPA to implement in the Springs urbanized area a series of climate action measures similar to those we are adopting in the city of Sonoma. The unincorporated county climate measures have more to do with methane, and yet we have an urban area that's equivalent to Sonoma right next door, where they have the same exact urban climate and GHG reduction needs as we do in the city. As far as the recommended timing for the joint committee meetings, I would also like to recommend that we meet monthly instead of bi-monthly. And
30 seconds.
Basically, I just want to say that from everything I read and have studied, that the climate emergency is a serious problem, and I would really like to see Sonoma make a strong effort to meet the zero net emissions by 2030.
Thank you very much, Ms. Schwalbach. Moving on, David Morrell.
Thank you and good evening. I very much endorse what my colleague Fred Allebach, David Morrell, 43 Mall Court. I forgot, I know most of you, and jumped right in. It's been an interesting evening already, of course, and congratulations to our new council member. Fred and I coordinated our presentations. The first meeting of the joint committee began the process. It was organizational in nature. That's good, that's important. Now it's time to treat it as an emergency. We need to really get going. We need to exercise leadership. We are a small city, but we're a well-known city. We have an image, and it's now time to take action. Fred's points, I won't repeat all of them. They're very, very important. I'm particularly focused on transportation GHG emission reductions. It's the biggest form of our greenhouse gas emissions. We need to deal powerfully with parking on the plaza. We need to take it on and take it on seriously because it sends a signal. There are ways to do it where local residents can have a sticker on a windshield, where EVs could be comped. We need to deal with parking on the plaza as a critical GHG transportation issue. We need to add electric vehicles to the city fleet. We need to add several more EV charging stations. We've had long communications with the sustainability coordinator, with the planning director about this. It's time to move from talk to beyond talk, to taking it seriously. We need to think about perhaps creating an EV-based dial-a-ride system, like we talked about 30 years ago, so that people don't have to have two cars. They can have one car, local residents, and they can get around with local dial-a-ride. Tourists can park in the local area and use our dial-a-ride to get to some of the wineries and so on. In addition, we need to take seriously climate carbon negative actions. We can use biochar, elemental carbon made from waste wood locally in order to put it in the ground where it makes a difference. So I thank you. I look forward to working with my colleagues from the City Council on the Joint Committee in making a difference and exercising leadership. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Mr. Morrell. Mr. McFadden.
Did I unmute?
Yes, you've unmuted. You're on the consent agenda.
Okay, my name is Jim McFadden. I'm with the Sonoma Valley Housing Group, and I would like to see the city of Sonoma work to do a project exactly like what Milestone Housing just did on Siesta Way in the Springs. 3 stories and 92 units of 40 to 60% AMI housing. Milestone took a density bonus, got it approved by right, and went out and got the money. This on less than 3 acres. Sonoma can work to make a project like this happen. Just do it. Use city land, use state land, use school system land, whatever, be creative. There has been a housing crisis for many years, and this crisis calls for attention from the city. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. McFadden. Next, we have Mr. Petlock.
Okay, thanks for letting me speak again. Congratulations to Kelso member Barnett. Very exciting. Kind of knew it. Tonight, I do want to speak to you. I want to add a little bit more to your plate. I'm sure you all saw in the paper just last week with 2 young girls being hit in the intersection at Verano Avenue. You know, I've been talking about this issue since I've been aware of local politics, and that's the speeds and traffic around Sonoma. You know, myself and many of my friends are avid cyclists. We want to put our kids on bikes so they can go to the store. You know, I live where I live so my kids can walk to school, hopefully safely, and get home safely. And, you know, I just don't feel like that's the case anymore. A lot of my friends like Fred Olivach and many others at the state level have done a great job with pushing housing. We're going to have a lot more housing. We're going to have a lot more density. And as many of you are aware, with that density, the speeds just don't seem to go down. People are not paying attention, and we just need help with that. You know, my kids expect me to come home at the end of the day. If I'm out recreating, I expect them to make it home safely at the end of the day. And we just need safer streets, sidewalks, bike lanes. You know, just in front of my house, there's 2 beautiful bike lanes. Nobody uses them. It's the same thing on either 5th Street. Nobody can use those bike lanes unless you are a salty cyclist in full kit. It is dangerous out here. And we just need traffic calming. I don't know what that means. You know, I hope that you guys will take this seriously. You'll put it in front of you. It really is a public safety matter. You know, I get sick. It breaks my heart when I see these memorials all over town. And again, when I see in the paper 2 young girls, you know, just lollygagging across the street in the intersection, somebody fails to yield to them and hits them. You know, those girls are my girls' age. You know, it's not right. We really need somebody to pay attention to this and help us. Thank you for your time.
Mr. Petlock. Next, we have Gil. Gil?
There we go. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Gil Latimer, Grant Court, Sonoma. Good evening to the City Council. First, as a private citizen, I'd like to thank the City Council and staff for all their hard work in choosing a new City Council member. It was no doubt a tough job, but very well managed. And I'd like to congratulate Council Member Kelso Barnett and welcome him to the Sonoma City Council. Moving on to business, I'm here once again representing the Sonoma Valley Cannabis Group. We'd like to thank the City Council and especially Council Member Amy Harrington for stepping up and directing our cannabis business question to all of the candidates at the previous council meeting. What we found most enlightening about the responses to the question was the unanimous support for a second dispensary. Once again, community voices have reaffirmed the validity and importance of supporting a free market that would provide Sonoma Valley residents with a broader variety of products at more competitive prices. And this is especially important for members of our patient community who need access to the widest choice of cannabis products possible to relieve serious and chronic symptoms. We'd also like to thank Planning Director David Storer for his prompt response to our email question regarding the scheduling of the introduction of the amended cannabis ordinances to the City Council. In his response, Mr. Storer suggested that the council would likely review the amendments within the next few meetings between March 15 and April 19, what we're not entirely clear on is whether the process of introduction and readings could begin at the next city council meeting and continue through the second half of April, or that the introduction and process may have to wait until the April 19 meeting. So we certainly hope it will be the former. Let's please not fall into the can kicking syndrome that has plagued us off and on over the last years. As many others have expressed, city electeds and residents alike, it's time to get this done. And with that, thanks very much for your time, and wishing you a good evening.
Thank you very much, Gil. Next, we have Dave Ransom.
Hi again. Congratulations, Kelso. If things proceed, you may have a chance to deal with the De Nova project on the council. I would like to just start talking with you all as from the Sonoma Valley Housing Group about the Doyle project, the De Nova project in the corner of town. I'm sure it's going to end up in the council. I think we need to congratulate De Nova for having built those market rate housing on the south lot, because they originally were putting them on the market for about $700, and now they're on the market for $1,250,000. And the granite units that were going to be affordable are being they are advertising as suitable for home offices for tech professionals moving up from San Francisco. I think we recognize that the supporters of Measure W last November promised voters that there was it W or M, I never can quite remember. Anyway, promised voters that there is ample space for affordable housing within the UGB. And they won overwhelmingly based on that promise. And this is the space. Those acres are the acres that we can get affordable housing on. Every member of the city council over the last decade that I've been around has supported affordable housing. And surely you all will be upset if we don't get affordable housing in that corner. It has been pointed out that the city doesn't have to agree to annexation. You know, there's a state law now that if the area is zoned for whatever, that the folks by right pretty much can go in there and build whatever. And that certainly happened on with the South Lot homes. But the state doesn't have to annex that area unless we have an agreement for affordable housing. And I'd like to suggest that was a good position to be taking when it comes up before the council. Thank you.
Next, we have Milton.
Am I unmuted? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Ah, okay. Milton is just my nom de plume. It's the name of my computer and was my late father's middle name. To begin, greetings and salutations.
Reveal the facade. Who are we speaking with?
Richard Silver.
No,
Who else?
Could you not tell by my voice? Amy Harrington knows it well. It's
well,
the
we may have known it was you, but we have hundreds of thousands of viewers all over the country.
Yeah.
And I think it's important that they all know as well.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm visible in every post office across the country, so what can I say? All right, I live in the Springs. I want to speak tonight about something that will bring a smile to all of you, and I see all of you, including Ms. Casey, are smiling. Tonight, I'm going to speak about money, something this town is woefully in need of and has been. The COVID has wreaked havoc with your bank accounts and will continue to do so. My sources tell me that tourism, international and domestic, will not return until 2024, 2025. Madeline, that's a lot of ice cream you and I are going to be eating.
I know.
Now, to speak to money, I am supporting your accelerating whatever process needed to bring the second dispensary into being for 3 reasons. Money. It generates revenue for the city. Sales tax, property tax, business tax, whoop-de-doo. Jack likes that. Okay, the next topic on money. Riffing on the gentleman who spoke after Fred Albach. Parking. Parking meters do not diminish tourism. Parking meters do not diminish business. The data shows the opposite. They can be calibrated for different times of days, etc. You're losing a tremendous amount of money not having revenue from people who park in the downtown sector. So the need for the city is as follows. Everything you need to do in front of you is important. Everything takes diligence. Everything takes a lot of time and effort and research. But if everything is a priority, nothing is a priority. Therefore, I humbly suggest, as only I can be humble, that you look to deal with issues that generate revenue for the city on an immediate and long-term basis. Jack is an accountant professional. He loves money. He will give you, and he and I will work on a report to show you how much money you're losing by not dealing with those 2 issues, parking, and then I will be providing to the city a proposal, 30 seconds or 10?
25 now.
Well, he was talking about who I am, so I'm reclaiming my time.
30 seconds, Milton.
I'm reclaiming my time. So the last thing is I will be presenting a transportation proposal to the city, and the working title is Tom Swift and His Electric Grandmother, which will run a system of electric buses generating revenue for the city and employing high school students. Look for that. Watch this station. Thank you and good night.
Thank you very much, Milton, or should I say Richard Silver. All right. Anybody else rising for public comment? Oh, we do have Kilby. Nope. Hand back down. Gotta leave that hand up if you want to jump in. Kilby Stenkamp.
Hello there. I just would like to know if we could bring the Casa Grande parking lot onto a future agenda. It's a very unutilized part of Sonoma that allows for parking and all kinds of uses. It's also a bit of a hazard. So if we could put that on the agenda, I would be happy to address the topic. That's it. Thank you.
All right. Seeing no one else rise, I'll go ahead and close public comment and bring it back to the council. We're at our public comments, so we'll go ahead on to meeting dedications, and I'd like to turn it over to our chief meeting dedicator, Vice Mayor Madeline Agramonte.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, I wanted to do a meeting dedication to someone who is a very special person here in Sonoma. His name is Tom Ellis, November 14, 1961, and he died in an accident, January 20th, 21. Tom Brian Ellis passed away unexpectedly while cave diving January 20th, 2021 in Ginnie Springs, Florida. He was an avid diver and cave diver, and unfortunately, this is what happened. I wanted to let you know that he leaves behind his wife, Shireen Aaronsmeyer Ellis, son, Tom, and his wife, Andrea of Roseville, another son, Brian, wife, Whitney of Oakland, California, son, Nathan of Knoxville, Tennessee, and many grandchildren, 3 grandchildren, you know, he was a young man. He loved adventure. He was a dreamer, and he meant an awful lot to people here in the city of Sonoma. They traveled all over the world. They were one of the lucky ones. And as I said, he was an explorer, and he unexpectedly, while diving, lost his life. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'd like to also dedicate the meeting to Mr. Paul Patarelli. This is a long-term substitute teacher that was here in the city of Sonoma. He taught, he had been a teacher for a number of years and then went on to be a substitute teacher at the high school at Altamira and at Adele Harrison, and was just, I had him a number of times in my classes growing up here. He was just a fantastic man, somebody who really tried to put a smile on kids' faces, who tried to be more than just a substitute teacher and really meant a lot to people who were here. He was always brightening students' days and just making people feel seen and heard and recognized, and was just a really, really wonderful man with a really, really warm heart. And so I wish the best to his family. And I think the whole community feels a bit of sorrow losing him, especially people who attended our public schools here. So a real major loss, and a wonderful man. And I wish him the best in the afterlife. And I wish his family members the best as they lose a loved one. So a great man with a great legacy here in the city of Sonoma, and somebody who cared a lot about our most important asset, which is our children. And so actually, I don't like calling children our assets, but our most important, members of our community are children. And so just a really wonderful man. Wanted to dedicate to him as well. Mr. Ding, Councilmember Ding.
I have a very late the dedication.
I'll allow it.
And actually, that isn't 2 years. That is Mr. Gordon Phillips. He passed away February 25th, 2019, and in the Orange County, in the Irvine General Hospital. Unfortunately, she had no any family member and friends around. I was the only one, because he was our sister cities and a member. He was a lifetime lawyer, and also he spent his retirement time to China, teaching in a university. And then he got interested for the Chinese history and come back to the Sonoma, and he spent 9 years study Chinese history in Sonoma Valley. And basically, our team project partially based on his research. And he got the thesis for Chinese and the laborers in Sonoma Valley, and got the master degree from the Sonoma State University in the year of 2015. So now I take this time, dedicated to him. He is such a kind heart, and also very support. And also he's at the beginning, he supported me to participate in politics. I said, I'm the first generation an immigrant, and maybe it's impossible, but he gave me some the encouragement. So now I want to share this story with everybody. And also his husband, he was Kathleen Hill's the husband's schoolmate and a roommate in UC Berkeley. That is really, really everything related in this small town. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Councilmember Ding. Great. Moving on, we have no presentations. We'll go to consent calendar. All items on the consent calendar are to be considered to be routine unless acted upon by a single motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless members of council, staff, or public request items to be removed for separate action. At this time, council may decide to change the order of the agenda. Do you have anybody wishing to pull an item from the agenda?
No, Mr. Mayor, not from me.
All right, we'll go ahead and open it up for public comment. Seeing no one rise, we'll go ahead and bring it back to the council for a motion.
Move to approve?
Second? We got people raising hands. Yes, city manager.
I didn't mean to interrupt. Mr. Barnett may want to do a abstention on item on the minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, but not the seconds.
Thank you. Actually, I would like to. Are we going to talk about any? We're not pulling any of these to discuss. Is that,
No,
what
that was your
okay,
opportunity.
okay. Then I would like to abstain from items 5.1, 5.2, and also 5.4. I was not part of the discussion to place that on the agenda, and I feel like I should probably abstain from that as well. So.
All right, great. Do I have a motion to approve?
Second.
Second, all right. Motion by our vice mayor and seconded by Councilmember Harrington. If we could have a roll call vote, please. And please,
Councilmember Harrington.
That's abstentions. I apologize.
Vice Mayor Agramonte,
Aye.
Councilmember Dean,
Aye.
Councilmember Barnett.
Aye for items, well, I'm sorry, 5.2 and 5.3, and abstention for items 5.1 and 5.4.
Thank you. Mayor Harvey.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion carries unanimously.
Great. Moving on. Item 6.1, discussion, consideration, possible action on introduction and first reading of ordinance. What? Okay. Okay. Discussion, consideration, and take possible action on introduction of first reading of an ordinance amending the City of Sonoma's Municipal Code, Section 19.18. I'm not going to read all this. I'm going to turn it over to our public works director. Not public works director. Our city planner, David Storr. Or are we going Christina Tierney here?
We'll be going with Christina. She has prepared a very short PowerPoint, so let her take it away, Mr. Mayor.
I see her camera's on, so I figured she was the one we're going to. So let's go ahead.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for your time tonight, and congratulations, Councilmember Barnett, on your first meeting. I will begin. Rebecca, if for some reason I can't shut off my PowerPoint, will you do it for me? I always have issues. All right. Again, thank you all for your continued effort on our zoning code update. The first round of our zoning code amendments went into effect on February 10th of 2021. That included our new indemnification clause and changes to permit implementation dates and our changes to our notification deadlines and our new accessory dwelling unit ordinance, which will bring our code up to compliance with state law. Our ad hoc committee, which is comprised of Mayor Harvey, Vice Mayor Agramonte, and now Councilmember Barnett, Planning Commission Chair Bob Felder, or excuse me, former Chair Bob Felder, and current Chair Ron Willander. They have been meeting regularly over the last year and working hard with staff on the issues that we outlined with the Planning Commission. Before City Council tonight is a discussion of coverage and site coverage, which was reviewed by the ad hoc committee in November. The recommendation from the ad hoc committee was to remove coverage and lot coverage from our definition section, and they requested that the Planning Commission discuss the definition for site coverage. And so we've had two discussions at the Planning Commission level. On December 10th, the Planning Commission discussed the definition of site coverage and created a revised definition during that hearing. They also directed staff to return in January with amendments to the planning area standards, as the definition section and the planning area standard tables are really interlinked in how they work on a day-to-day basis for implementing our zoning code. So on January 14th, 2021, the Planning Commission unanimously recommended that Council review the proposed ordinance amending Chapter 1992 definitions.
Quick question.
And changes to the planning area standard tables.
Christina, are we supposed to be having a screen share right now?
Oh, can you not see it?
No.
Yeah.
Could have
That's
said
what
that
I was
earlier.
I just realized it.
I wasn't thought I was doing it or
There's
There we go.
something with where we have these dual screens, and sometimes it like I can see it going and clicking, and then it doesn't actually show up. Can you see it now?
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Thank you. I apologize for not mentioning earlier.
It's like when somebody has food all over their face and you don't say anything.
I apologize. Wasn't meant to be embarrassing.
No worries, Logan.
Thank you. You're doing great.
All right. Can you see my slides moving now?
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you all again. So the standard that we're discussing tonight is referred in our code sort of interchangeably as coverage or site coverage. And it's one of the objective standards in our zoning code that helps regulate development. It is expressed as a percentage of total lot area. The standard is found in each planning area in our tables. For example, for the low density zoning district in our Northeast planning area, the standard is 40%. Medium density residential, it is 60%. So as I mentioned before, we have three similar and interchangeably used terms. We have coverage, lot coverage, and site coverage. The changes that are before City Council tonight are intended to improve clarity for decision makers, members of the public, and design and construction professionals. There are three goals with this proposed ordinance based on the recommendations from the Ad Hoc Committee and the Planning Commission. What's before the Commission tonight is to remove lot coverage and coverage from the definition section, amending the site coverage definition in Chapter 1992, and amending the planning area tables to reference site coverage instead of coverage. And there are also planning area, in each of the planning areas in the tables, there are exceptions for detached garages and porches that are not reflected in the definition. So the modifications in those tables are intended to clarify whether or not you can take those exemptions. So this slide is showing the proposed changes. So coverage will be removed in its entirety as well as lot coverage. And the definition for site coverage has been amended to simplify it as much as possible. So the existing definition, which is being stricken out in red, reads, site coverage means the percent of total site area occupied by structures and paving for vehicle use. Structure/building coverage includes primary structure, all accessory structures, e.g. carports, garages, patio covers, storage sheds, trash dumpster enclosures, etc., and architectural features, e.g. chimneys, balconies, decks above the first floor, porches, stairs, etc. Structure/building coverage is measured from exterior wall to exterior wall. Pavement coverage includes areas necessary for the ingress, egress, outdoor parking, and circulation of motor vehicles.
Christina, can I jump in here for a second?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Site coverage, areas necessary for ingress, egress. I sort of like one of my little nagging points that walking in the city of Sonoma sometimes is difficult because if there are two of you walking, somebody's always walking down the drive, the slope of the driveway. Does that mean this is it as well?
So when we typically calculate site coverage for a planning project, what we're looking at the site plan. And so we're looking at anything that would be used by a vehicle. So sometimes pedestrians may use areas that are designated for motor vehicles, but if it's like a designated sidewalk or pedestrian walkway, that would not be included.
Because the sidewalks that I walk, sometimes the driveways go right into the walkway because they're very narrow. And so, as I said, you're walking up and down, up and down. That's why so many people walk in the street here in Sonoma, because they don't want to walk up and down driveways while they're walking.
Yeah, that's definitely an issue I have in my neighborhood for sure, just the general walkability of our town.
If somebody wants to see a perfect street, it's Knight, K-N-I-G-H-T.
I think that is a really important issue when we discuss the road standards, things like that, that's where the safety of those areas will really come into play. What site coverage is really doing is giving parameters to our development applicants, and it's a guideline for what is acceptable, what's an acceptable level of development. So it's looking at how many square feet are built on a property.
Okay, thank you.
So the solution that the Planning Commission collaboratively came up with is to delete all of the language in red, and the new definition that's being proposed would be site coverage means the percentage of total site area occupied by structures and areas necessary for the ingress, egress, outdoor parking, and circulation of motor vehicles. And essentially, there were multiple definitions built into the existing site coverage. So there's a definition for structure / building coverage. We already have definitions for what a structure is in our code. And a lot of the other features that are providing additional information, they're defined elsewhere. And by cutting the definition down, it's going to simplify for all of the users of our code what and what is not considered site coverage. So this is an example of the planning area table. So this is a similar table for all of our planning areas. So the language in blue that's underlined is intended to clarify that we are no longer using coverage, but site coverage. And then we're taking out all of these exceptions and trying to rely more on our definitions to provide the rules and clarity that we need and to avoid duplicity. One of the problems is these tables, as you might be able to see, it says coverage, maximum site coverage as a percentage of site area, excluding porches and detached garages. Well, this conflicts with what the definition is in Chapter 1992. So there's a lot of ambiguity. And if a design professional looks at the table, they're going to interpret site coverage one way. If they look at Chapter 1992, they're going to have a different interpretation of the code. I have a couple graphics for you to show you the difference in how the standards are being applied now and how they could be applied in the future. So this is showing how coverage would be defined in the planning area tables. This is a project that I worked on. Can you see my cursor? In the lower left, when I move to the next screen, you'll see there's a detached garage that is not included. All of this area for vehicle movement is not included. And there's also a porch in what is an ADU in the front. So this is the planning area table definition. And this is what our Chapter 1992 would define as coverage. This is site coverage based on our planning area tables. And this is based on Chapter 1992. So as you can see, there's quite a discrepancy in the different standards and how they would be applied for the same project. In summary, the proposed amendment, the proposed ordinance that are before you has been reviewed by our ad hoc committee, and which was forwarded to the Planning Commission. It was reviewed by the Planning Commission twice and was universally supported by the Planning Commission and recommended that the City Council review, discuss, and conduct a first reading. And now I'm going to see if I can close this presentation. Unless Rebecca can do it first. There we go. Thank you.
Hi, Christine.
Can I answer any questions?
I actually have a question for Mr. Mayor, if it's all right. Or possibly our interim city manager or city attorney. I've already voted on this exact item to recommend it to the city council. Can I vote on it again, or should I participate? I don't know if there's a issue with that.
Maybe I could jump in.
Yeah.
If this were a what we call a quasi-judicial proceeding where somebody's property rights were at stake with respect to a use permit, for example, or a subdivision map request, there may be a due process problem with that because you've been sort of predisposed to a particular outcome. But this is strictly policy, and it's considered quasi-legislative, and it's okay for you to articulate a position in advance.
Great, thank you. That's what I thought. I just wanted to double check. Thank you.
Yeah, you can vote on it again.
All right. Other questions for Christina Tierney or other staff members? Seeing none, I'll go ahead and move for public comment. We've got Mr. Fred Albach.
Good evening again. I have a question about this in regards to how it might affect affordable housing in different areas of town. I saw that in one particular neighborhood, it said that the coverage would be 40%, and maybe some other areas it would be more. And so I'm concerned that something like this would prevent affordable housing from being done in perhaps low density zoned areas, like in yellow areas. If there was a lower percent involved, then that might prevent even duplexes or triplexes or quadruplexes to actualize what some have called for, integrating low density areas with a little bit of higher density. So I'm just curious if this particular ordinance is going to actually sanction low density as low density that can't be opened up more, because as we know, zoning is something that has tacitly work to keep areas segregated. So I don't really know, but I'm just curious if this could be construed that way, and if you pass this and certain neighborhoods of town or planning areas have a lower percent, whether that means they're effectively being cut off from a higher density development in the future. So that would be my concern with this.
Other people rising for public comment? Being none, I'll go ahead and bring it back to council. Do we have a response to the question posed by Mr. Albach?
Yeah, I'd be happy to respond if this would be appropriate.
It would be.
So in all of our development applications for the last 3 years or so, since I started at least, we've been applying site coverage to all of our planning projects. So in effect, it's not a departure from how we've been applying the code. The biggest difference is going to be for people on the outside who are reviewing the code cold and maybe don't have the guidance of a design professional who is experienced working in the city. If they come across the coverage definition, they're going to perceive that they're allowed to have more development than they really are once they get through the process. So it won't change how we've been implementing the code. The ad hoc committee is aware, and the planning commission is aware, that we may need to revisit the percentages at a later date and time. I think this is going to be a phased approach. So right now our attempt is to clean everything up and simplify as much as possible. And then as we're going through and processing applications, if there does appear to be an issue with how this standard may be limiting development, then what we can do is change the numbers that are in the code. So if 40% isn't appropriate, we can change it to 45 or to 50, but at least everybody's really clear about what we're talking about. In my experience, the biggest issues with site coverage don't actually come from the square footage of the structures. It's really in how developments are designed with respect to roadways and with respect to parking areas. Just a more historic development pattern that we have in Sonoma is to have a really long driveway reaching the back of the property. That's where we've had a lot of issues with site coverage. So from an environmental standpoint, what site coverage does is it really is limiting the amount of impervious surface to on the surface for stormwater runoff. And it's also just for the urban heat island effect and trying to have more area for housing and less for paved areas. Our land in Sonoma is extremely expensive. And so if you are limited to 5,000 square feet, you're not going to want to waste 2,500 square feet of that on a driveway. So my hope is that it really is going to direct development to being smarter and to clustering parking and drive areas to smaller portions of property so that we can have more duplexes and multifamily development. Thanks for that.
Great.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, this is David speaking too. I apologize for the lack of Zoom. But I wanted to thank Christina for her work and effort in this regard, and the ad hoc specifically because we are attempting to make our code consistent internally, which it has not been, as it's been modified over the years since it was first created in 2005, 2006 period. So again, thank you to the Planning Commission, the ad hoc, and Christina for her work. That concludes my comments, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. So I just want to clarify, Christina, it sounds like we're not changing the way the code is implemented in any way. The code stays the same. It's just trying to clarify the rules better for people who would be coming in. And
Correct. Yeah, the way that we have been applying this standard, this site coverage standard, has been to follow the site coverage definition for the past few years. Previous to that, my understanding, this is before my time, but my understanding is previously and intermittently we have used coverage, but I don't have any historic information about that other than when I came, I was pointed to the code and said, okay, it says site coverage, but we're using, it says coverage, but we're using site coverage. And our goal right now isn't to relive the past. It's just to clean up what we have and make everybody clear that we're talking apples to apples, not apples to oranges.
Love it. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Any other questions?
Other questions from council? Go ahead. Councilmember Barnett.
Thank you, Mayor Harvey. Just to address what Mr. Alabak just brought up, Christina, from what I remember, generally an affordable housing project often takes advantage of a density bonus, and California law allows when you take a density bonus, you don't have to comply with one local standard. Would site coverage qualify for that?
I will ask our city attorney to chime in on that. That's my understanding, but I'll let the attorney answer.
Well, I was just trying to sort of respond to Fred that perhaps that won't be an issue because generally in affordable projects, they can pick and choose one sort of restrictive local, requirement they don't have to comply with. So,
and that might be a candidate. What is also equally important here to remember is that the standard that that can also increase density is the FAR, the floor area ratio standards. And you can have a 50% site coverage requirement and have a 50-story affordable housing project on such a site. Now that's an exaggeration, but FAR is the floor area ratio. You add up all the square footage of a structure, all of its floors, and that cannot exceed a certain ratio. And that's how growth is also controlled. The state legislature is moving in a direction to relax those standards and compel cities to relax those standards when it comes to affordable housing. But that's the other control that would be important to focus on as we go forward from this point on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think it's also the intention of the development subcommittee and this council to potentially look at making changes to the percentages or to this as well, right? Is that, I think I heard you say that as well.
Yeah, and I would note just at the ad hoc committee level and at the planning commission, there were discussions about affordable housing, really extensive discussions about how this could affect affordable housing. So it was definitely considered at every level along the way.
Mm-hmm. And we may be looking at changes to the percentages in the future, but right now we're just looking at changing definitions and ensuring that there's clarity in the codes. I think like the process we've talked about in the subcommittee is like, let's get some of the easy cleanup done first, and then we'll get into the meat of making adjustments if need be to try to improve the ability for affordable housing to be created and improve the ease of that as well. So it's kind of what my understanding of how we've been going about things on that subcommittee. And yeah, I appreciate you bringing this forward and appreciate all the hard work of yourself and our planning team and of the planning commission as well. Do we have a motion or other comments? Okay, I'll go ahead and move to approve. We've got the unanimous vote of the planning commission, and so.
Second.
All right, roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Harrington.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Gramonti.
Aye.
Councilmember Dean.
Aye.
Councilmember Barnett,
Aye.
Mayor Harvey.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion carries unanimously.
Great. Now we're moving into 7.1, committee reports. Any committee reports?
Oh, I think I do have one. Zero waste. You know, well, zero waste, of course, they're still looking for that tentative person who will provide CRV recycling on their site. And I don't know who that person is, even though, or that company is, even though I asked questions. But we did find out something very interesting. Possibly, Mr. Mayor, you have a better memory. We have the largest plastic broker in Sonoma, and I don't know who that is. And that's pretty interesting. So we're trying to find out. And actually, our director, Leslie Lukash, does know who the person is.
Great. No real updates from me for my subcommittees. Yeah. Anybody else? Updates? Councilor Barnett?
I have no updates to offer because I'm not part of any committee.
Oh,
But
don't just you wait.
I did notice there was an opening for SVCAC. It said TBD, and I'd be more than willing to serve on that if it is the pleasure of the council. Obviously, that is aligned with some of my interests, and I'm more than happy to talk to Councilman Ding about all his service on there. And so, I don't know if it's
I was
appropriate.
also on there, Councilmember Barnett, for 1 year.
I was
attended
their last meeting.
Dave
Yeah.
Gift was on it.
It's a very interesting place. Yeah, very, very good.
So I'm just volunteering, you know, in case.
Can we
Yeah.
we can't put them on there right now, right?
Right.
Top of
Probably
the
not.
agenda.
Right.
We have
Coming though.
later, we're gonna need to discuss putting him on and also his replacement on the planning commission and all that.
Yeah. Great. All right. Well, nothing else to report. City manager, comments or announcements?
I don't have any.
Oh God!
I have
like a 5-page PowerPoint, please.
I have a comment. Anybody who's listening to this call, or you know, I know we have millions of viewers all over the world, but I do encourage you, especially if you are in Sonoma County, to get tested for COVID. Whether or not you think you have a reason to believe that you have the coronavirus, what happens is we've had a decrease in the number of people who are getting tested, and as a result, our numbers start to skew in terms of test positivity. And the reason being is that they start to only test people that have a high percentage chance of having COVID. Oh, I was related. I was in the same room as somebody who tested positive. My mother, sister, brother had COVID. We live in the same household. I gotta get tested. Those people are more likely to be positive. So we need to test the whole of the population. Not only does it help those numbers stay more accurate, but it also allows for accurate contact tracing and make sure that we are catching those cases of folks who are asymptomatic. Because as we all know, COVID can travel without any coughing, sneezing, anything like that. So we really want to make sure that everybody gets tested on, I believe it is Mondays and Wednesdays. We have testing for free at St. Leo's Church from 10 to 4. Go ahead and pop on by and get yourself tested for COVID. Plus, if you haven't gotten tested, I mean, do you really want to go through the pandemic and people are going to ask if you got tested and you never did? It's an experience. We should all do it.
You know what we could just say on that point is that originally when they were testing people, you know, they were really sticking the Q-tip up and swabbing your brain. They're not doing that anymore. It doesn't hurt at all. It's right on the outside of your nose. It's very painless.
The first time I went directly to the police department and said I'd been assaulted.
That's pretty rough at the beginning.
Yeah, I took
Thank you, Amy.
Oh, I mean, I took my kids to get tested, and when they found out it had to be in their nose, and they had heard so many stories, they were scared of getting it. And then when we went, they're not doing it that way anymore. But I think that had prevented some people from doing it. There were so many stories about it hurting, but it doesn't hurt anymore.
Yeah, there's a few. I mean, I've been tested a few times, and it varies. Sometimes you get a pretty, you know, somebody who really wants to get it done. But you know, absolutely, for sure, go get tested. It's not that bad. I really encourage it. It's critical, and it's how we get into red tier. It's how we open up the indoor dining for restaurants. It's how we open schools back up. And once we get into red tier, a lot of people ask the question about why is Napa County open and we're not in schools. They got to red tier. And once you get that requirement, you're allowed, once you meet that level, you sustain it for children in schools. And I think we all want to get our kids back into in-class learning. And so I think it would be great if everybody went out and get tested. So I'll try to get that done this week too, and I'll post about it and tell everybody to go do it. So there you go. Anybody else? City Attorney Jeff Walter.
Just a quick one. I know that you've all talked about examining the Planning Commission and other appointments because of Councilman Barnett's recent appointment today. In the interim, the ad hoc committee that's dealing with the revisions to the development code should decline from meeting with all three of you on that committee. One of you will have to decline from meeting because that would be a violation of the Brown Act. Only two of you can meet. So just be wary of that. Maybe you can hold off until the council has a chance to revisit the issues of appointments.
May I ask you, did you, which committee was it? Are you talking about the?
Development code.
Development code.
It was a joint between the
I
planning.
will give that up.
You'll give it up?
Yes. Unless somebody else doesn't want to serve. I only have two things. Walking.
I don't know if we can talk about this at this time right now, Madeline.
I can't talk about it.
But I appreciate your enthusiasm and your suggestion. And we will get it done peacefully and correct with the Brown Act soon so that we can.
And I'd rather use that time to surf.
Great. To surf. Madeline is a huge surfer and just the great waves lately. So I appreciate it. Great. Anybody else? Comments? Good. Appreciate it. Thank you so much, everybody who attended. Thank you to the public. Thank you to members of council and staff. And I wish you all a wonderful evening.
And congratulations, Kelso, and thank you, applicants.
Congratulations, Council.
Congratulations, Castle.
Thank you. Thank you.